Well, that wasn't near as fun as the last few we played. Um, really, it's pretty simple. When you lose the turnover battle, I think we were -2. And we didn't play very smart and very disciplined, and really we got out-coached. I thought that they had better plans, and their players executed their plans better than we did. In looking at it from the outside without watching the tape, early in the game we made a couple decisions that weren't very good and kind of set us behind the 8 ball. And then we turned the ball over. They did a good job with the run. They rushed for 238 yards. I mean, way too many rush yards. A little bit over 4 yards a carry or so. So this was the first game that we didn't defend the run very well. And in the big picture, in most cases, if you don't defend the run very well, you're kind of on your heels. And then offensively, we turned the ball over. We had a few drops, and we didn't protect as well as we needed to at times. But they played really hard. I was impressed with them. During the week, I had mentioned that I thought that Hill was playing with a lot more confidence, and I think I was right in saying that. He's kind of gelling in their system a little bit, and he was throwing the ball effectively, and they ran the ball effectively, had good skill. So, we'll rally back tomorrow. Guys need to kind of let it soak in tonight, and then like every other week, even when we win, same thing I always say, we gotta let it go. We got to come back and get ready to play the next game. So that's what we'll do. We expect our guys to get over this and come back tomorrow with a smile on their face, and we'll identify where we were deficient in all areas, coaches, players, and then we'll correct it, put a plan in action, and get ready to travel next week and play out at Tech.
Mike, how frustrating is it for a high-powered offense like yours to only see the ball for like 20 minutes? Because you got to convert every time you have it on.
Well, they did a good job of maintaining the ball, and I think our first 3 and out was in the fourth quarter, I think. And so, we've got to get more 3 and outs. And, you look at time of possession. See, time of possession usually is a non-factor to us. But the way this game fell, it was big with not having any 3 and outs. And then early in the game, offensively, we put the defense in a bad situation by turning the ball over. So, I mean, when you do that, it snowballs in games like this. You don't play smart, you turn it over, and you can't get a 3 and out, and that all snowballs, and, you play a good football team and you lose.
What did TCU do well to keep you guys from the deep plays you had so far this season?
From the what?
From the deep passing plays you guys had.
Well, their safeties played high. Like what I had mentioned, in press conference, I said I would expect him to back up and play high. And then we weren't able to run the ball as effectively. So, it's a simple process. If they're going to play off, then we got to run the ball. If you can't run the ball and they play off, then you got to be really good on the underneath stuff. And we did hit a lot of that, but not enough when we were in catch-up mode. For the most part, halfway through the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, we're in a catch-up, and they're playing deep. You're not going to run by them. We were running the ball average, and that's what you end up with.
How much did losing an entire side of your offensive line hurt all of that?
Well, those guys got to make plays. 72 and 73, they got to play. There's not anything we can do about that. So when we lose guys, the next guy's got to come in and they got to make plays.
You mentioned the struggles to run the ball. It seemed like you were running a lot on first down, and were you seeing something that you thought you could exploit and that maybe wasn't there? Or what was the reasoning behind some of those runs?
Our game plan, Jenny, was the same as it's been for all 4 games. There was times we could run the ball, and if you just think back to the early part of the game, like you're talking about, we were one block away 3 or 4 times. You know, the crowd got fired up, and we would come off a block, and they'd scoop our ankles for a 6-yard gain or an 8-yard gain, or, it looked like it was going to open up. And TCU has always had fast guys that tackle well. So when you slip off a block against defensive guys that are good tacklers, you get a 6-yard gain. If you slip off a block versus a team that's not as athletic as you're playing, you get a 60-yard gain. And so, as I said, the last couple of weeks, each game we play teams are going to get better and better. So we have to minimize mistakes, and we didn't do that today. And I thought they outcoached us, and I thought that their kids started and played more aggressive than ours.
It's always really easy, Mike. But do you wish you had the McCleskey double pass back?
Oh, sure, yeah. Now that it didn't work, yeah. Yeah, and you could think about those things forever. I've been in that situation. We were on a pretty long drive. They're tired. You probably get them out of rhythm and try to get a cheap score. The other thing we were thinking is we needed to score fast still at that time. The clock was working against us, so you want to be as patient. And I thought Mike and them were pretty patient for being as far behind as we were. I thought they did a nice job of not panicking, but you still have to try to score because the odds are against you when the clock's working against you. But I wish I had it back now, sure. And Gary's defenses always play good. If the kid that intercepted it would have bid on the run, we're in the end zone and we're in a whole different ball game. But regardless, yes. But sometimes that happens in play calls.
Does this loss knock that goal of college football playoffs off the board for you guys?
Oh, well, it'd make it difficult to come back. I don't think anytime you're completely out, we're still going to play teams that are ranked really high, and we have a chance to play well. And I say this each week, and I really mean this. It's hard for us to look beyond next week because we have areas on our team where we have young players. So we've got guys that are really, really good players, but then we have some areas where we're fairly young. And when you're like that, each week is a challenge, even as how we played the first 3 games. But we're still it's a challenge for us where you have youth and inexperience playing. You got to be really careful. So we have to rally back and just really work on Sunday night's practice.
Mike, regardless of
When you
opponent,
came to
you
the
see
stadium today, were you pleased with your week of preparation coming in the game, or were you concerned about your week?
Well, our guys were focused and practiced really well. Obviously, we had some new guys, but their attitude, their focus, their enthusiasm, and their willingness to work was good. I didn't have. If somebody would said, okay, how'd you guys practice? How do you think they'll play? I'd have said, we practiced great, and I think they'll play good. Go ahead.
Mike, that being said, how disappointing does that make today? If you had a good week, and for how good you guys looked, how in control you looked through 3 games, regardless of your opponent, I take it you didn't see this coming.
Oh, I don't know that I ever would see it coming. I didn't see the week before it coming either. I say this all the time. If you have, when you have 22 guys on the field, if you have 6 or 8 of them that are inexperienced and young, nothing surprises me in college football. They can go out and play really good, and you come back in and watch a tape, and you're like, wow. And then they can make mistakes, and you're looking at it, and you're going, how did they do that? And I've seen that before and being in this game a long time. We're always disappointed if we lose, but I'm not disappointed in our team. We asked them to play hard Sunday through Friday. They've done that. They prepared. The ball didn't bounce our way a few times. I thought they outcoached us, and they made some plays at key times. Like at the end there, we didn't shave down the edge. If we shave the edge down, it's 4th and 5. We're going to get the ball back. You never know. But we didn't. They made a play. At the end, they made a play.
You said that 3 times they outcoached us. How frustrating is that? I mean, Gary's a great coach, but you thought so, obviously. Why?
Yeah, well, I think sometimes that when you have game plans, when the game's over, I think as a head coach and or really as an assistant coach, you have to look and say, okay, everything we put together for this game, was it good? And I think that in this game, their packages for what we do versus our packages for what they do, I thought they were better. I mean, it's happened before. It's happened before, and we've won a game. So, I'm not so naive to think that we always have a better plan than everybody. Each week, you put things together based on who your personnel is and what you think you give yourself the best chance to play well. And sadly enough, sometimes you're like, well, that didn't work very good, like the double pass. And then sometimes you do it and it works great. So,
like two areas that you guys have usually been pretty good this year, last few years, are special teams and limiting penalties. So to kind of have that special teams mishaps in the first half, and then I think it was 55 yards of penalties at halftime. Those are two things that you're able to usually rely on. You guys usually win that battle.
Right. That's what I was talking about. We weren't very disciplined. We had a holding call on a punt, and we didn't even have a return call. We were just in a fair catch mode. So he was a freshman. And that's an example of some of the things that I say that never in a million years would I have thought he'd have held on a fair catch call. But for whatever reason, he did. So that was just like a turnover. They gave him the ball on the 35-yard line or something, or 30-yard line. So that was just like another turnover. Why he would do that, I don't know. But I'm just giving you an example. He's a freshman. We told him, we coached it, and we go on down the road. But you're right. Usually in special teams, we're pretty sound, we're pretty solid. We gave up just there at the end, we made two big mistakes. We gave up a return, and we got out of our lane on the backside, and he's a good player. And then on the fourth down, we made a mistake.
So their explanation on that punt was that he did the holding before they punted the ball.
That's what they said, yes.
Mike, you downplayed this earlier, but if you're going to have a special season, you need to have some breaks and not be without, 5 or 6 guys, ideally, right?
Right.
Like you were.
Yeah, no, you're right. We can't do anything about it, though. We had to play the guys we have. We work everybody. And, we had an unfortunate situation last week where we lost quite a few guys. And so we had to play other guys. And you just got to keep rolling and go with it. And I'm not sure how they played specifically, but we'll grade them, evaluate them, and get them ready next week. We lost Larry Williams for the year. All the other guys are pretty much day-to-day, but we lost Larry for the season. So those other guys got to step up and play.
Was there any discussion after that last touchdown of potentially going for an onside kick with a couple minutes left?
When you have 3 minutes and 9 seconds and 2 timeouts, your percentages are the other way. You got to play percentages. We had stopped them, I think, inside the 28 every time, or we kicked it out. Now we were kicking into the wind, so we couldn't kick it out. But let's just say that we stop them on the 32. And you take the scenario that we had on the 45 and mark it back to the 32. We're in pretty good shape. You had 2 timeouts, call one after first down, call one after second down, force their hand on third down to say we're either going to throw it, take a chance on stopping the clock with 2 minutes and 42 seconds left. And for us, 2 minutes and 42 seconds is an eternity. I mean, we could run 12 plays in 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So that was a long answer for no. We didn't think about that.
Mason played.
Who?
Mason.
He got out of his box again early on the fumble. Same thing he did against Tulsa. And, sometimes that happens, but we'll keep pushing him that, once he's out there and floating, it's okay to just throw it away. Competitive athletes, sometimes that happens. But without watching the tape, I'm going to say he played okay. they pressured him pretty good. We didn't do as good a job, John, of protecting him today as we have. We gave up quite a bit of pressure, and so obviously it wasn't near as entertaining for him as it has been. I missed somebody here.
Same question.
Okay.
When you say their packages worked better, is there an X and O detail or a certain play that comes to mind that kind of illustrates why that was true, especially against your offense?
Why that was what?
Why that was true? Why you thought that was true?
Well, the integral part of football is seems complicated from the outside, but it's really not very complicated. And the majority of what they did on defense was similar to what they did last year, but they stumbled on offense last year. They were playing in the role we were in, playing catch up. They couldn't throw the ball effectively. That allowed us to really do a lot of things, and we ran the football better last year. So there was a few things that were different, but when you force us into 3 turnovers, when it counted, and then we forced them into 1, then I would have to tend to say that their schemes their packages and their coaching was better than ours at that time. And I don't want to discredit their players playing hard and tackled well. If you go back and watch the game, there weren't many times that they missed tackles in critical time. Weren't many situations in the game that they missed tackles in critical times. And with all the stuff that happened, the mistakes we made, didn't play very smart, the double pass, whatever, I think you'll see from a football point that they made tackles at critical times, and that really was the difference in the game.
Any chance after last week's amazing performance on offense, anything got to the players' heads going into this one?
Oh, I would hope not. Anything's possible. And, the question was, how well did our guys practice? They practiced good. And I told them in there. I tell them this all the time. It's what I tell everybody, that we asked them to commit to a purpose. And I know people think it's coaches talk or whatever. They did everything they were supposed to do. We made some mistakes today. Coaches probably made some mistakes today. But I'm not down on these guys at all. None whatsoever. Okay? They give effort. Their attitude's good. They play their butt off. Ball didn't bounce our way. They made a few more plays. And so it's part of life. You figure it out. You grow up. You come back tomorrow. And I told them this, and I'll kind of end on this. I know they're wanting to get me out of here. But I told them, I said, if you come back tomorrow and you're angry, then you just wasted a day because you're not going to get any better. You got to come back, get over it, allow yourself to be coached. The coaches have to allow themselves to be coached. I have to allow myself and be critical of things that I should have done better. And then when we go practice, it's over. It's life. Ball didn't bounce our way. They outcoached us and they played harder than us. I don't know what to tell you. But I'm not down on them at all. I'm proud of them for what they did, and get them together because we'll have our hands full at Tech. They can roll pretty good on offense from outsider looking in. So, all right, thanks, guys.